I've spoken with Keith Loris about outsourcing marketing services, or his version of it, which is called JointSourcing. Very interesting model where he shares the risk and rewards with their clients. We have also spoken about what business should look for when evaluating a marketing organization to work with, and why the term outsourcing sometimes can have a bad perception. Hello, Ederson Oliveira here. This is another episode of the Outsourcing podcast where we talk about outsourcing, and I bring specialists and people that know a lot about the field to talk about that and discuss how to take the pain out of the outsourcing process. So I have with me Keith Loris. Keith is the CEO of Sales Renewal Corporation. Keith, welcome.
Thanks very much.
Perfect. Let's start with your location and what is your business about.
Excellent. So Sales Renewal is located in Boston, Massachusetts. We serve clients across the U.S. and actually really across the world. And we're a truly unique marketing agency. There are two things that are unique about us. One is our breadth of services. So most marketing agencies are a single tactic. It's a PR firm, it's an ad firm, a trade show consultant. And that's okay because they're generally serving big businesses who have a marketing infrastructure. They have VPs and directors. They can hire all these point-specific vendors and come up with a coherent marketing strategy and implementation. Sales Renewal is serving small businesses. Most of our clients are between 0 and 5 people in marketing, and often they have 0, right? We often will report to a person who's got a title VP Sales and Marketing, but they're really sales, and they've grown to whatever level of success because they're really good salespeople. So Sales Renewal is a marketing general contractor, right? And so we subcontract the work to various industry-specific experts. So that allows us to provide a breadth of services that's pretty unusual, pretty unique for marketing agencies. The other unique thing about us is the business model, and that's we share the risk and reward. So with JointSourcing, we basically insource, and I'll talk about that in a minute, as opposed to outsource, the equivalent of a chief marketing officer, a VP of marketing, and the entire team, and we do that all in this unique shared risk reward business model.
Got it. Okay. So we just discussed a little bit about that before the interview, and you said, okay, we don't do outsourcing. We do, and not we have a spin on that word, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, you are taking the sales and marketing, role for an organization. So they are giving that, they are asking you to deliver that for them. But what is it? I can only assume that it's very different and I'm going to call it to outsource sales and marketing as compared to outsourcing IT, to outsourcing development. Can you talk a little bit about, how different those things are?
Sure, absolutely. No, you're right. I mean, technically, in the business school sense, it's outsourcing. We're not employees of our client. We're doing marketing for them. We call it insourcing because outsourcing often has this connotation of shipping business offshore to save money. The quality is not necessarily as good, things like that, right?
Why?
Why? Why?
Yes.
Because that's the way it's often presented, especially in places like the IT world. There are all these Indian outsourcing companies and things like this. So we don't really want to fight that battle. In that particular case, it's really not. We're not taking work and jobs away from, let's say our client did have 2 marketing people. We're not replacing those people. The idea of insourcing is that marketing has gotten very technical over the years. It's long past the time where you could be an English major in college, you could be a good marketer, right? It's very technical analytics, and there's lots of sales enabling technology. And it's really hard, if not impossible, for a small marketing team to be an expert in all the different strategies and tactics you need to do in marketing. So when we view it as insourcing, we're not replacing anybody there. We're insourcing the pieces they're missing.
Got it. Okay. So let's go a little bit deeper into the joint sourcing strategy that you implement with Sales Renewal. So it looks to me that joint sourcing, you have some skin in the game as well. Can you go a little bit deeper into your version of outsourcing, which again you call joint sourcing?
Sure. And it goes to the question you asked a minute ago about, outsourcing marketing is a little different than IT or HR, some other things. And those generally are, line operations, and, it's not necessarily as scary. Most business owners, the thought of it, I'm outsourcing marketing to this third party. Am I putting the risk of my business? This is where my revenue is coming from. That's a very scary thing, right? That's why the business model is so critical, right? Another thing, for instance, in the joint sourcing solution, it's a one-year contract. We're not doing a project, right? So we and all the subcontractors we bring to bear all have a one-year contract, which is pretty unusual. We're all invested in the long term and coming up to speed and getting better. As an example, our average joint sourcing client has been with us 3.7 years. We are their marketing department. So the business model becomes instrumental, the shared risk reward, as a way to allay the concern of the business owner that these people are going to be into it. They're going to do the right thing. Now, would you like me to elaborate a little bit more about that?
Please go.
So Sales Renewal is actually my fourth company. I started 4 different companies. The first 3 were all technology companies. It was originally PC software, then web software, venture-backed, privately backed, and so on. In those other 3 companies, I was a big consumer of marketing services, and I always felt like the business model of marketing agencies was broken. So those 3 companies, the innovative thing that we did was technology. In Sales Renewal, it's the business model. A, we're trying to serve small businesses, which most marketing agencies ignore, and B is the business model. So the typical predominant business model for marketing firms is by the hour. You're paid by the hour. And if you think about it, the business owner is motivated of the marketing agency. They're motivated to kind of work slowly. They'll make more money the slower they work if they're paid by the hour. Now, I'm sure the vast majority of those people are honest. They're going to do the right thing for their clients. But I wanted a model that did not rely on Keith being a nice guy. I wanted to be my economic interest. In certain parts of marketing, the business model is even worse than by the hour. For instance, in advertising, the ad firms typically get 20 to 25% of the ad spend. So their economic motivation is to get you to spend more money on advertising. In our model, when I say shared risk reward, what I mean is Sales Renewal earns commissions on the revenue we help generate for the client. It's a pay performance kind of model. And just like with sales, even though we're marketing, all the issues around commissions of sales apply to us. Obviously, what's the percent number? Is it all revenue, new product, new territory? We're happy to have all those conversations with clients. But the idea is the fact of getting commission on revenue is motivating us to grow the sales. We go a step further, though. We also put skin in the game and we share the risk. All right. And that's where in joint sourcing, the word itself has 2 pieces. In sourcing, the piece we talked about a minute ago, is the last part, and then joint venture is the first part, and that's the shared risk reward. So the idea is that whatever commission we're earning on the revenue side, we will contribute for the big ticket marketing expenses we recommend. All right. So I'll give you an example. If we're earning a 10% commission on revenue, which by the way we don't often get, but it's an easy number. If we're getting a 10% commission on revenue, and we propose to a client $1,000 a month online ad campaign. If the client says yes, we will pay 10% of that, or $100 a month. The client will pay the $900 difference. What we're trying to do there is align our economic interests with the client. Like the business owner, Sales Renewal is motivated to grow their sales. But like the business owners, we're also motivated to grow them cost effectively. Contrast our business model with the ad agency. Their motivation is get you to spend more money on ad because they're going to get 25%. Our model, we want to minimize the ad spend. And trust me, I sit in Excel quite a while and figure out, our incremental commissions from an ad campaign versus our incremental cost of the ad campaign. If it's profitable for us, it's profitable for the client. Okay. So the shared reward applies to sort of the big ticket marketing expenses, paid marketing, direct mail, things like that. And the point of that is it engenders a tremendous level of trust. A business owner understands if we say we think you spend $1,000 on ads each month, they understand our money's in the deal, right? It leads to a level of trust where, with the ad firms getting 25%, you might be a little skeptical where they come up with that number, right? So it's a very different kind of a model.
Got it. Perfect. So there's something that I would like to explore a little bit deeper here, Keith, which is your general contractor model there. That I find it very interesting that you don't shy away from, you don't hide the fact that, okay, you know what, we use subcontractors to deliver part of what we do. So talk a little bit about which types of work you subcontract and why you make that clear that you subcontract it. Why you don't shy away from white labeling that, from hiding that? Why?
Well, for one thing, we're being honest. Most marketing agencies do subcontract, right? They just call it white labeling and they pretend. And the thing is, it's ridiculous to me. You know, the PR firm who does SEO, the PR people are not doing SEO. They're outsourcing it to some SEO firm. And conversely, the SEO firm says, we'll write the press release. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, the PR people should write the press release. So in our model, you probably can't see this, but you can see this on our website. We divide the world up into these different nine different characters, okay? And, you know, as an example, web marketing and SEO, email marketing, paid marketing, and so on. The bottom one here is strategy, analysis, and program management. That's what Sales Renewal does, okay? We do the strategy. We do the benchmarking that drives everything. We're very, very data-driven. And then we become really good at herding cats because we turn around and subcontract to all these marketing agencies who are not used to working together. Their normal mode is to try and grab as much of the business as possible, right? So in our model, we would ask the PR team to write the press release and the SEO team to place the inbound links and improve the ranking. This subcontracting model allows us to use each expert for what they're really expert in and not pretend that they're experts in all these different things. So we're not claiming we're experts in all these different things. There is a depth of expertise. You do have to be 25 years in advertising to be really good at advertising. So our model, for the small business, we feel like we're giving the best of both worlds. We handle the breadth of all the different marketing tactics they need, and it's a custom plan in JointSourcing. We have this process. We figure out exactly 1 part SEO, 2 parts trade show, 3 parts, you know, content marketing, whatever makes sense for that business. And then we will go find all the subcontractors. We ourselves do not claim any industry expertise. Again, we're doing the strategy and the program management. Strategy tends to be industry agnostic. The team we assemble for each client, again, the 1-year contract team, will be expert. So a financial services client will get financial services writers. We'll get people who have the industry expertise you need to get good performance. So again, it's the best of both. We give them the breadth that we manage on a day-to-day, but then we have the depth of expertise specific to their industry that's going to give them the performance they want.
Got it. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the key aspects to be successful with, and I'm going to call it outsourcing. You call it the term that you want, but what is a few key aspects to be successful with outsourcing market to somebody else to do on behalf of my organization? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. There's 2 parts of the outsourcing. We use that term. One is from the client's perspective. What makes it successful from the client's perspective? Well, I already stated one. It's the business model. The shared economic interest. We're not getting paid by the hour. We're not just checking things off, right? At the end, you know, a lot of the classic things with a marketing agency is, you know, the ad firm or the SEO firm, yeah, they're bringing more traffic to your website, but it's a qualified traffic. Are you getting more business? And often you go through contortions to try and benchmark and show that it's good kind of traffic. Our model is revenue. We're getting commissions on revenue. If we're bringing you unqualified leads, you're not going to close them. We're not going to get a commission. So the model itself focuses on, you know, quality kind of stuff. So that's a really important thing. It's a 1-year contract. We have monthly meetings. We have quarterly strategic reviews. We have lots of analytics to back up. We don't go so much with our gut. We go with data. What's working, what's not. In the quarterly meetings, we can move money around. SEO is not doing what we want. Put more money into advertising, things like that. Okay. So from the client's perspective, it's very, very helpful. The idea for this, by the way, we call ourselves marketing general contractors. When I started the company 8 years ago, last month, I made a simple observation. I looked at home construction. So I said, imagine if you were going to build your own house. It's highly unlikely that you would hire the plumber, the carpenter, or the electrician. You probably hire the architect to design your house, and then you hire the general contractor to find the subcontractors, to manage them, make sure the wood's there before the carpenter needs it, and so on. That's our model. The way it is today for small businesses, a local company, a local manufacturer is going to hire SEO people and trade show people, and often they don't even speak the language. The SEO guy is going to talk about things that clients can understand. The advertiser is going to talk about click-through rates. Most small businesses don't understand any of that stuff, right? But the contractor, who's got the economic interest aligned with the owner, we do understand it. We can talk to the SEO guy. We also can push back when they say, the Google Panda update is why it's not working. We can say, no, it has nothing to do with that. Sorry. You got to deliver, right? And so it's a really important sort of intermediary. You could think, okay, well, they're in the middle, but there are a lot of advantages of being in the middle. And so, again, as I said earlier, with joint sourcing, we're the equivalent of the CMO, like the architect. We're the VP of marketing that manages the team, and then we hire the team. Now, the other version of outsourcing is the fact that we subcontract, and that's, again, what we call that. But again, we're very open, and we try and use the various experts for what they're expert on. So the PR team writes the press release and that kind of thing. What we've done, frankly, over the last 8 years is develop the infrastructure to herd the cats, to share information amongst these vendors who are not used to sharing information. So we start off a joint sourcing engagement with what we call a blueprint, which is a strategic engagement. We gather a lot of information, again, the strategic thing, the messaging, the positioning, which we then turn around and share with all the subcontractors, right? So each subcontractor typically has their own discovery process. They don't have to do that. We give it to them. Now, they're free. Also, by the way, the fact that the client knows that they're there, we don't have to hide them. If the SEO team's got a question, they can ask the client. We don't have to pretend, right? So there's really good information flow. The other really big benefit for the subcontractors is, again, we're in the industry. They typically would have a conversation with us. They're off the phone in 15 minutes. That same call with the client would be an hour and a half. The client would ramble. They talk about different things. When the subcontractor talks about Google Panda update, we know what they mean, right? So it's much more efficient for the subcontractors to deal with us. For most matters, we're a really good proxy for the client. Okay. Any question they ask us, we generally can answer it. And if we can't, we turn to the client, ask them, and they'll answer.
Got it. Perfect. Very good. Very good. So, as I said before, you wear both hats. You provide services and you hire services as well. Now, I can only imagine that you must have come across many horror stories of problems that you may have with your clients or even with contractors as well. Whatever you feel comfortable with, I would like to hear, 2-3 minutes story that you may want to share with us that can exemplify something that, hey, this is a problem with outsourcing, and this is how we came about solving that. This is how we solved this issue here, this horror story. So, do you have anything that you can share with us?
Sure. I don't think I call it a horror story, but a classic outsourcing problem is you hire the vendor and they're not exactly right for you, right? So this happens to us sometimes too. So a story I'll share, one of our clients sells used test and measurement equipment. So they did things like network analyzers and oscilloscopes, things that an electrical engineer would typically use. This equipment used could be $40,000. So it's a big ticket item often, right? And it's like anything electronics online, it's very much commodity. They sell on eBay. On a $40,000 product, a $1 difference in price could win the sale, right? Because again, our client doesn't build it. They're not Agilent or Hewlett-Packard. They're selling somebody else's machine, right? And so one of the things we did for this client to sort of get out of the commodity world they were in and still some loyalty was we wanted to make their website content rich. So that the engineers who typically will specify the purchase will come to the site, view it as a resource, and get in the habit of coming there, even when they're not in the market. So we had a very robust content marketing program. And we started this engagement with a really good marketing writer, really, really very good at this, right? The challenge that we quickly ran into was she was writing for engineers, right? And so typical engineer response to marketing fluff, they throw up all over it. This is garbage, I want details. I want facts, right? So this was like within the first 2-3 weeks of the engagement, we realized this was not a good fit. So without the client even knowing it, we started looking around for somebody better. Turns out we found a test and measurement engineer who was in Kuala Lumpur. Okay, he worked for Intel, and as a hobby, he blogged about test and measurement. So he had a blog. We found them, and we ended up hiring him, right? And he ended up writing their blog. He actually did experiments, and we published them on the site. It was fantastic. We didn't even tell the client about this until we had found this guy, and we told them basically we weren't happy with the quality of the initial writer, and so here's a replacement. What do you think? They were thrilled.
Perfect. Love this story. Love this story. And that is a great segue for my next point. How do you go about finding your contractors?
That's always a challenge because, again, we're looking for industry experts. It's not the case that we have a bench where we always employ, the same people to every gig, right? We're always looking for expertise in that industry. So it's a whole grab bag of things. We haven't ever run an ad yet, but, we network, personal contacts, various websites. In the example I just gave you, we were searching the web, looking for test and measurement content. We found this guy with the blog.
Got it. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your tool belt, because I can only imagine that to manage projects, to manage, clients and contractors, you must be using a lot of different tools out there. So can you name a few of the tools, not only for communication, but for project management that you and your team use?
We've actually used quite a few different project management tools. That's one of the historic challenges. We were using Liquid Planner for a while. We used Trello. We're back, I think, to Asana at this point, as far as a project management tool. What we're finding actually is more important. I mean, the project management is important, but the flowing of the information is the hard thing, right? I mean, this is 2017. The world moves really fast. Things change. Clients do this, they do that, they want to change. And how do we keep everybody in sync? So, the communication tools, the Skype, the shared stuff in Google Drive, all becomes quite instrumental. As a company, our business model with our client is a win-win model. We really do the same thing with our subcontractors. We have, for example, even shared our commissions with some of our subcontractors, right? So if the logic of shared risk reward works for the client to us, it should work with us to the subcontractor. And we have done that at times.
Got it. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about misconceptions and barriers for clients to engage on marketing services, on outsourcing marketing services. What are some of the misconceptions and things that clients in general, they don't understand well when it comes to potentially outsourcing or subcontracting their marketing initiatives?
The biggest one is, and it's not that I blame the small business owner, but when they look at the marketing world, they see all these single tactic silos. Again, the ad firm, the PR firm. So they'll tend to view their marketing problem as a single tactic. So a classic, I look at my website, I'm not getting enough leads. And my brother-in-law hired an ad agency, and it worked for them, so I'm going to hire the ad agency. Couple of problems with that. First off, unless your brother-in-law's business and yours is identical, it doesn't mean what good thing they did for you is going to work, right? Also, the problem like not enough leads from a website. There are many causes of that. It could be the traffic you're getting from ads or from SEO or from your social media site to your website is not very qualified. It could also be the website's not very good at converting a visitor to a lead, right? When they hire the ad firm, they're basically saying, this one tactic is going to solve all my marketing problems. And the truth is, it's usually a mix. I've not met many ad firms who will say, when they're about to get hired, you know what, don't hire me. Go spend 9 months and update your website and then call me back. It's not in their economic interest, right? Our model, since we do all of it, we're no bias to any one. We would do the website first, and then we'll work on traffic generation.
Got it.
Then we have a 12-month contract, so we have the time to do things in the right order and use the right efficiencies and so on.
Now, going a little bit beyond the scope of sales renewal, if a business out there is trying to evaluate a potential company, marketing organization, what are some of the things, one or two things that they should be laser focused on checking about that organization? How would you come about evaluating a company, a business that you can potentially do some marketing together?
Well, it actually builds on the previous answer. The key thing is you need integrated marketing. You can't just hire that ad firm or even just do your website, right? You need an integrated marketing plan and then implementation of the plan. The left hand needs to know what the right hand's going to do, what the right order is, right? So that's the key thing. And again, that's the challenge for a lot of small business people because they often don't necessarily have the marketing expertise. They certainly don't have the time to get that involved in the day-to-day and do all this coordinating and stuff like that, right? So that's, again, what the problem Sales and is trying to solve. What we do is what we call agile integrated marketing. So with JointSourcing, it's a complete one-stop marketing solution. We will take on the entire marketing problem, again, which we then subcontract, and you have the shared risk reward business model. And then we have the 1 year time, we have the quarterly reviews to look at the data and make adjustments. So it's agile in the sense of we don't want to spend 8 months thinking up deep thoughts. We're going to do something a little bit and test it. Did it work or not? And then make an adjustment. So the key things are, the agile, the concept that comes from the world of software development applied to marketing, and then the fact that it's an integrated, complete one-stop marketing solution.
Got it. So I'm just going to recap on my own words to make sure that I got it, because I find it very interesting, which what you basically say is that ideally a marketing partner will look at all the different channels potentially to market your business, and not only not just SEO or not just PPC or not just content marketing. It's really a gamut, a full set of tools and channels to promote your business, not just one tool. Correct?
That's exactly right. And again, that's what the big companies do, because they have the internal resources to hire all these point-specific vendors and come up with a coherent plan. That's what we're trying to bring that big company marketing to smaller businesses. Exactly right. That's where you get, and we have some great statistics. You can see these curves over here, but that comes from the fact that we have the PR team writing the press release and the SEO team doing the lead. We're using the right experts to do the work, and that it's integrated, that we do the website first, then we bring the traffic to the website.
Got it.
That leads to phenomenal returns.
Got it. I want to be mindful about your time, Keith. I know that we are running out of time, but I just want to ask you this before I let you go. What is one thing about outsourcing? Forget about for a second your specific, services and products. What is the one thing about outsourcing that you'd like people leaving this interview knowing about?
I think communication is key. So the business owner has to have regular communication with the firm and keep them in the loop. So, in Sales Renewal's case, every client gets a quarterly review. Most clients get a monthly review. Some clients get a weekly review, depending on the size of the engagement. So that's really important because, again, businesses change a lot, and the marketing team's got to be kept in the loop. The other key thing is the economic motivation. If you're hiring outsourcing purely to save money, well, you get what you pay for, right? And, if your goal is, I just want to drive down my costs, then it's hard to say, well, I also want high quality, right? And so one of the things I really like about our model is the shared risk reward is a way to sort of address that,
Got it. Perfect. Finally, how can people get in touch with you in case they, have more questions or maybe want to do some business with you?
Sure. Well, right there on the screen there is our website, salesrenewal.com. They're free to give a call, 508-529-4300 as our phone number, or call us or submit off the website. By the way, there's a lot of cool information about JointSourcing and a lot of good resources on the website, even if you don't hire us. We want to be a destination website too. Our blog, it covers all of marketing. It's not just one tactic. There's information across all the different marketing things. So people should feel free to go to the website whether they're interested in us or not.
Perfect. Keith, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your experience with marketing here. Okay?
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Bye.